Alright, well, the other day I went back and I re-looked at the death of Kerrie Orozco. She was an Omaha police officer who died in the line of duty. We've had all these police deaths in the news, and the reason that I went back and looked at it is because I've mentioned Omaha, Nebraska. I also mentioned Baton Rouge, Louisiana months ago in regards to Obama after he gave his State of the Union address. The very next day, on January 13th, he went to Omaha, Nebraska, and then the next day he gave a speech in Baton Rouge, Louisiana at McKinley High School. William McKinley was the third assassinated president, and he died after attending the World's Fair in Buffalo, New York. His vice president just so happened to be Teddy Roosevelt, who gave a famous speech just days before in Falcon Heights, Minnesota, where Philando Castile had died. The speech was famous for him talking about the big stick, and Baton Rouge is named after the red stick that marked the hunting boundaries between two Native American tribes. So we had this stick symbolism. Also interesting just in regards to assassinated presidents. And it's just adding on to the stuff that I've talked about previously in regards to a possible assassination of Obama or, possibly Trump. I've talked about a lot of stuff, They had all the theater shootings, just tons of foreshadowing in regards to an assassinated president. So moral of the story, I went back and looked up the death of Kerrie Orozco for the fact that Obama went to Omaha first, and it makes me wonder if at some point they're going to bring all of this, blue lives, black lives matter, some type of event is going to happen in Omaha, or if maybe she was the event, she was the cop who died in the line of duty. Anyway, let's look at some of this stuff here. So Omaha equals 38, Louisiana equals 38, Minnesota equals 38, Orozco, her last name, even equals 38. Another reason that I wonder about Omaha is the fact that we got the cop shooting in Dallas. Dallas, Texas equals 46. Then we got the cop shooting in Baton Rouge that equals 46. Omaha, Nebraska also equals 46. I even talked about the stick symbolism. Stick in gematria equals 17. If you write out 17, it even equals 46. So Kerrie Orozco, she died 238 days before Obama was in Omaha on January 13th. 238 was also in both of the shootings, the Philando Castile and also Alton Sterling shooting. In the CNN article, they reminded us that Baton Rouge had a population of 238,000 people. They even shortened up the original video on the CNN article to 2 minutes and 38 seconds instead of the original 9-minute whatever it was video that was originally out. CNN shortens it up to 238. That's interesting for the fact that I've talked about a lot of stuff connects to Philadelphia. Also the Philadelphia train wreck last year, which also connected to Pope Francis coming to the United States. But that Philadelphia train wreck had 238 passengers. The Monetta, Virginia shooting, the Bridgewater shooting, it also happened on the 238th day of the year. And remember, that guy was also supposedly mad because of the Charleston church shooting, so he was getting his revenge on the white people as well. Also, in regards to sports, I guess, I can't help but think of Teddy Bridgewater for the Minnesota Vikings, the quarterback. And I just said, when Obama went to Baton Rouge, he gave a speech at McKinley High School, and then his vice president, William McKinley's vice president, Teddy Roosevelt, gave a speech in Falcon Heights, in Minnesota. So, interesting. And while I'm on it, I guess, I just want to mention this really quick. So this Micah X. Johnson in Dallas, he wrote, supposedly he left a message in blood that said RB, which just reminds me a lot of running back. It also could be, just the backwards Baton Rouge. And I had this message on one of my videos, where they talked about Les Miles and Leonard Fournette of LSU. LSU was in Baton Rouge. Interesting though, Leonard Fournette equals 76. Les Miles' full name also equals 76. You know, the shootings, both of them shootings, we got the story on 7/6. Plus, this guy was supposed to be the next Adrian Peterson, who plays for Minnesota. The colors in these two shootings were red and blue. Red and blue that makes purple. Purple also the color in Domestic Violence Month. In October, they have the purple ribbons. You had Adrian Peterson, who was beating his kid or whatever, and Ray Rice, who played for the purple team, who punched his girlfriend in the elevator, just like Prince, who's all about purple, and Prince dies in an elevator. So, I guess just wanted to point that out really quick as I'm going through here. Also, 183 equals 238. I've been talking about this number a whole lot, 183, in regards to Queen Elizabeth and the date of August 7th. Maybe I'll just leave a little note. I don't want to re-explain it, but there's a whole bunch of stuff with that. David Cameron, his full name equals 238. He had just resigned after Brexit. Anyway, if you go from the day that Obama was in Omaha to the 1-year anniversary of Orozco's death, it's a span of 128 days. A number that I've mentioned a ton around Philadelphia and Pennsylvania. Even on the CNN video about Kerrie Orozco, it starts off and they show you police car 128. You know, William Penn equals 128. Philadelphia became a state on a date numerology of 128. Also, if you write out Democratic National Convention, it equals 128. And this year, it's going to be in Philadelphia. So anyway, a while back I made a video about the death of Nancy Reagan, and just before she died, I think the day before, people were trolling my comments like crazy. I was getting weird comments, and they were leading me back to the video I had previously made on the death of Kerrie Orozco. And I discovered that Nancy Reagan's death was connected to September 19th, which is also the same day that Pope Francis went to Cuba and all kinds of other stuff. You know, he began his trip to the United States by going to Cuba. Obama went to Cuba. Nancy Reagan in Gematria equals 103. In English Gematria, she equals 618. Also Jewish Gematria, she equals 618. And I found that weird. I rarely have seen this happen where they equal the same in Jewish and English. If you write out 618, it just so happens to equal 199, also 919. You know, both days, that could be September 19th, 19/9, 9/19. She's also 103 in simple gematria, 919 the day that leaves 103 days left until the end of the year. It's also the 262nd day. 262 seems to be a very, very important number. I'm not sure of the exact meaning of it, but let me show you a whole bunch of 262 stuff that ties into all of this. So I talked about how Obama went to Omaha, then Baton Rouge right after his State of the Union address. State of the Union address equals 262. Actually, before I even go into that, Nancy Reagan was born on July 6th, right? The same day that we got the story of Alton Sterling and Philando Castile. In regards to even Philadelphia, just think about the 76ers. Think about Philadelphia being the nation's capital at the beginning in 1776. But anyway, State of the Union address 262, Nancy Reagan connected to 262. Kerrie Orozco, look when she was born, September 19th, 1985. And she dies on May 20th. So she's born on the 262nd day of the year. She died 122 days before her birthday. Pope Francis equals 122. I've talked about Pope Francis going to Cuba on 9/19 last year. He went there 26 weeks, 2 days before Obama went to Cuba. Hillary Clinton clinched the nomination 262 days after 9/19. Clinton in Gematria equals 262. Anyway, the last time that an Omaha police officer died in the line of duty, the same way that she died or got shot, it was this guy, Jason Ty Pratt. And look when he died. He died on September 19th. Oh, the odds. And look when he was born, May 19th. Literally one day off of the day that Kerrie Orozco died. What's even more messed up is that Jason Pratt equals 134 in Gematria. The guy who killed him equals 134. I've been talking about all of this Queen stuff, and if she dies, then Prince Charles will become King Charles III. King Charles III equals 134. James Garfield, also the second assassinated president, he died on 9/19. If you write out September 19th, it equals 91. Believe it or not, this guy was actually born on the same day that King Charles I during the English Civil War was born, on November 19th. So he has a connection to King Charles as well. November 19th, if you write it out, it equals 91, just like September 19th, the day that James Garfield died, equals 91. Kerrie Orozco is from Walnut, Iowa. Walnut equals 91. I also mentioned a lot about how 9/19 is connected to Queen Elizabeth, or just Queen in general. Queen equals 26. Also 62 the big way. 26, 62. If you go from the death of Kerrie Orozco to Queen Elizabeth's 64th anniversary being queen, it's even a span of 262 days. Remember, Queen Elizabeth was born in 26, became queen on 2/6. She turned 26 years old that year. She was coronated on 6/2/60, or was 62 years ago. 63 now. The first ever copyright claim I got on YouTube just so happened to be on a video about Ramona Quimby, age 8. And I talked about, I don't even remember what I talked about, some time travel movie and Ramona Quimby. But I put the video up on 9/19 of 2014, the 262nd day of the year. Ramona equals 26 and 62, just like Queen. Ramona Quimby, age 8, equals 103, just like Nancy Reagan. So whatever, that same day I put it up, I got a copyright claim. I fixed the video, put it back up. Then 177 days later, YouTube gave me another copyright claim on it, which is interesting because the 177th day just so happens to be 6/26. So I fixed the video again. 85 days later, I got another copyright claim. 85 days later, though, if you add up 177 and 85, it adds up to 262. So 262 days after I originally put the video out on the 262nd day of the year. In regards to Turkey, the Turkey coup or whatever, Turkey was the first country to claim ISIS as a terrorist group, and they just so happened to do it on May 11th, 2013, which was 2 years, 6 months, 2 days before the Paris attacks in November. If you write out 62, it equals 38, just like Omaha, Orozco, Louisiana, Minnesota, Prince, Prince from Minnesota, Chanhassen, where he's from, even equals 38, death equals 38. He had to emergency land right before his death, a couple days before. Lil Wayne emergency landed in Omaha. Lil Wayne equals 38. He's even from Louisiana. The word stick also equals 62 in Gematria, just in regards to McKinley and Baton Rouge, the red stick, and then the big stick. Also interesting, her full name in Gematria equals 203, just like copyright strike. Just like also this episode of Bubble Guppies that I had talked about the other night. I talked about it in regards to Sylvester Stallone being in Nice, France, and he's Rocky and whatnot. And out of nowhere, the cartoons were still on at my house, and the Rocky theme was on this episode of Bubble Guppies. I looked it up, has the same Gematria as her. If you write out 318, it also equals 203. And in the Rocky video, I even mentioned how Apollo Creed dies on August 31st, which is 3/1/8. It's also the same day Princess Diana dies. The episode of Bubble Guppies was even Season 3, Episode 18, a lot like 318. Prince Charles was born on the 318th day of the year. I also found out in my comments that 318 is an area code in Louisiana, Louisiana even has the same gematria as Philadelphia. Republican National Convention equals 318, which is interesting considering today, I guess, July 21st, the last day of the Republican National Convention, it's on the 203rd day of the year. Today is the 203rd day of the year. So, who knows? Maybe something's planned for today. Who knows? Interesting, though, today is 21/7, July 21st, and there was some 217s involved in this Kerrie Orozco death. So, Orozco, the big way, equals 92. She died the mirror at the age of 29. She's from Iowa, the 29th state. We've even talked a lot about France lately. France equals 29. Anyway, she was going to go on maternity leave the day after she died, and her daughter was born on 2/17, and she had been in the hospital for 92 days. Her daughter's name in gematria even equals 92. Orozco was shot at Martin Avenue, 3057 Martin Avenue. Martin Avenue equals 143. If you add 3 plus 5 plus 7 more, it equals 158. Just like Kerrie Orozco, however you say that. That's supposed to say 158th. The 158th prime is 929. It syncs up. September 19th just so happens to equal 217 the big way as well. So her daughter, prematurely born on 2/17, September 19th equals 217. If you go from 2/17 and you add 217 days, it takes you to 9/22, the day that Pope Francis arrived in the United States on his 923rd day as Pope. Tons of other stuff with that. Kerrie Orozco in Jewish gematria equals 922. Also, 922 is the day that the French Republic began 223 years ago. Masonic equals 223, just tons of other stuff with 223. And Friday the 13th equals 223, that's the day the Paris attacks happened. In regards to also July 21st, though, it's the day that leaves 163 days until the end of the year. The 38th prime is 163. Remember, Orozco equals 38, Omaha equals 38, death equals 38. Talked about how it connects to the Philadelphia train derailment. Train derailment equals 163. Make America Great Again equals 163. I mean, just think about that in regards to Donald Trump and whatnot and the Republican National Convention. Barack Hussein Obama also equals 163. Obama assassinated equals 163. Paul Davis Ryan also equals 163. I've talked a whole lot about him in regards to possibly becoming the next president if there was some type of political assassination. But let's pull this up here. He became the Speaker of the House on October 29th last year. Just so happens to be 266 days ago. Pope Francis, the 266th Pope, 923, the 266th day of the year. Actually, 922 this year is the 266th day. Also, exactly 38 weeks. Also notice it's 8 months, 22 days. August 22nd is the day that the English Civil War began. It was the 234th day of the year. This year it's the 235th day. A whole bunch of stuff we've talked about with the Illuminati card in regards to assassinations and whatnot. It has the 235 and the 666 on the license plate. October 29th, also a very special day. That's the day October 29th, also a very special day. That was the day that the Turkey Republic began. It's also the day that the stock market crashed in 1929. So, maybe not a political assassination, but today, possibly a big day for news stories or something alike. Anyway, I want to finish the video off with some other events that happened in Omaha in history. There was the guy who was the sound guy filming for the TV show Cops, who got shot by police officers on accident, supposedly at the Wendy's. And then also, there was the race riot in 1919 that I want to cover a little bit. Before I do that, though, I just want to show a couple more things about Kerrie Orozco here. Kerrie Orozco, the small way equals 77. Police officer equals 77. Police department equals 77. And think about the Dallas shooting that just happened on 7/7. You know, he shot police officers. It all has to do with the Blue Lives Matter. I mean, it's just such a joke, you know? Anyway, in regards to Omaha, Omaha is also the birthplace of Malcolm X. And he was born on 5/19, the same day that Jason Pratt, who I talked about earlier, died. So it really makes me wonder if she was actually supposed to die on 5/19 instead of 5/20. Well, also, like I said in the last video, there's something significant about the, like, 1 day off or something like that. I've noticed that a whole bunch, about how there's something significant about the coding being 1 day off. So just throwing that out there. Anyway, the first lynching that ever occurred in Omaha was in 1891. So once again, the 91 that I was talking about. The Omaha race riots occurred in 1919. Just once again, a lot like the 91, or at least the mirror 19 and 91. Alton Sterling even shot outside the triple S. S is the 19th letter. SSS, 1919. This one was a story of a 19-year-old Agnes Lobeck on September 25th, 1919, supposedly got raped by Will Brown, the 41-year-old Will Brown. So the race riot in 1919, she was a 19-year-old, he was 41. If you write out the word 19, it equals 41. Her name equals 19. Her full name in Jewish gematria even equals the 238 that I talked about in the beginning of the video. There's just something off, too. If you look at this picture, this is the picture supposedly of him getting lynched. It literally, to me, nobody's even hardly looking at him. Maybe this kid, maybe a few people. It looks like they're just taking a picture and then they like superimpose this body into this picture. It just doesn't look real whatsoever, you know? You know, I just highly doubt this picture is real. It just does not look real to me whatsoever. Whatever. You know, I was even looking at the Kent State University shooting earlier. And you go to Wikipedia and this is the picture they have up here. I mean, just look at the picture. It doesn't even make sense. This guy's supposedly dead on the ground. That lady's, oh my God, or whatever. And then everybody else in the picture, look at them. They're just all standing around like, oh, what's the big deal? Who cares? They're just walking casually. No big deal whatsoever. No terror on their face. I mean, you can't really see their faces, but seriously, does not look real whatsoever. I guess the reason I only even bring this up is because I had talked about this Native American theme as well, right? McKinley died in Buffalo, and then Baton Rouge was all about the red stick. Omaha, I even talked about the Omaha Indians. It connects to the area that I live in. I live about an hour from Omaha, but the town that I live in killed the last keeper of the sacred pole of the Omaha Indians. It even connects to the Mormons. Just, if you've watched my previous stuff, it would make a lot more sense, but I've been talking about this Native American theme. And in regards, I've talked a lot about the parallels of Philadelphia and also Cleveland, even in the NBA Finals this year, and last year, I guess. You know, Philadelphia used to be the Warriors, and then we had Cleveland win for the first time in 51 years. Cleveland equals 51. LeBron James equals 51, Cleveland Cavs equals 51, Quicken Loans equals 51, and that's where the Republican National Convention takes place, and then the Democratic one is taking place in Philadelphia. Neil Young has a song called Philadelphia. It was, I believe, in the movie Philadelphia. Tom Hanks equals 101, Philadelphia equals 101, but he also has a song about the Vietnam War. It's called Ohio, you know, 4 dead in Ohio. But it just makes me wonder because of the Republican National Convention being there. But Neil Young was also in a band called the Crazy Horse, named after the Indian or the Native American crazy horse. If you write out Crazy Horse, it equals 138. Just like if you write out Donald Trump also equals 138. So it just makes me wonder, I guess. The Omaha Indians, even originally from the Ohio area, they were called the Maha Indians. There was also, the day after Easter, somebody supposedly had pranked and they made a gravestone with Donald Trump on it. And if you go from that day, March 28th, to tomorrow, or I guess today, it's 3 in the morning, but it's a span of 16 weeks, 3 days. And remember, today is the day that leaves 163 days left until the end of the year. Also, just in regard, 217, 217, if you did that February 17th, it's the 48th day of the year. Donald Trump, the small way equals 48. Also 115 days. Kent State in Gematria equals 115. Just like Scottish Rite Freemasonry. So very interesting. Anyway, though, I want to move on. You know, like I'm saying, I'm just showing some coding. Doesn't necessarily mean that Donald Trump's going to get assassinated tomorrow and 4 people are going to die in Ohio. But I find it interesting that it connects to some of the themes that I've been talking about. And maybe there'll just be some story in the news. Who knows, you know? So anyway, the last story I want to talk about was this Cops sound guy who died in Omaha when they were filming Cops. His name was Bryce Dion. They were filming in Omaha. So his name in Gematria equals 50 and 95. But notice he died at the age of 38. Dion, 38. Omaha equals 38. Orozco equals 38. He died almost exactly 38 weeks before Kerrie Orozco. Pretty interesting. The word cops in Jewish Gematria equals 203. Kerrie Sue Orozco equals 203. You know, I talked about a whole bunch of this. Kerrie Sue Orozco even equals 1217 Jewish. The band Crazy Horse also equals 1217 in Jewish. Just wanted to point that out. She died 122 days before her birthday. Pope Francis equals 122. Neil Young also equals 122. Pope Francis was born on 1217. Interesting too, you know, just Pope Francis's birthday even has the 217 in it. But he began his trip to the United States, right, on 9/19. He went to Cuba first, though, on her birthday. Or what would have been her birthday. It would have been her 30th birthday. The season of Cops that they were filming, it began on June 12th, 2014. Just interesting that this guy died 2 months, 14 days later. I've talked a lot about Valentine's in regards to Kerrie Orozco's death. Valentine's Day is 214. Omaha Police Department equals 214. She was killed by a guy named Marcus Wheeler that equals 151. Valentine's Day equals 151. There was a witness named Angela Valentine. Also, you know, Donald Trump, 15 years, 51 days older than Obama. A big part of the story in Kerrie Orozco's death was that she had a premature daughter born in the hospital, right? And she was born on 2/17, like I said. But it was 154 days after Orozco's 29th birthday. If you go from Bryce Dion, the sound guy, who supposedly died at Wendy's, he died 5 months, 20 days before Valentine's Day. Remember, Kerrie Orozco died on May 20th, 5/20. Also a span of 173 days. Black Lives Matter equals 173. Just in regards to what I've been talking about, in regards to the police shootings and Blue Lives Matter. They even aired a tribute episode to this guy, Bryce Dion. They did it on 9/20 of 2014. So just interesting. Once again, it's one day off of Kerrie Orozco's birthday and also the death of Jason Pratt, the other Omaha police officer. Omaha police equals 53. Cops equals 53. Kerrie Orozco died on Martin Avenue. That equals 53. If you read out 53, it has the same gematria as Pope Francis. Supposedly this guy even died at the Wendy's. They called it the Wendy's restaurant. I wouldn't really consider Wendy's a restaurant, but Wendy's restaurant 227, just like the name of Kerrie Orozco's daughter. That equals 227. 227 on the Gregorian calendar is even the same as Valentine's Day on the Julian calendar. If you go from Valentine's Day to Kerrie Orozco's birthday, also, once again, like I said, the day I keep talking about, it's a span of 219 days. The day, that number is super special to Pope Francis, Queen Elizabeth, Donald Trump. It all ties back into August 7th that I keep mentioning. I'll leave a little note and show a bunch of reasons why I'm talking about this 219. Even Baton Rouge, Louisiana equals 219. Which, interesting in regards to Alton Sterling, who died on 7/6, or we got the story on 7/6, the same day that Philando Castile died on 7/6. So, I'm going to leave it at that. I don't know what the 919 is. They've been showing it to me for 2 years now, And I wonder if they're just showing me Hillary Clinton. Clinton equals 262. The 8/7 day that I keep talking about, Clinton in simple gematria equals 87 even. Or possibly an event will happen on September 19th. I wouldn't think that a political figure would be assassinated on that day, considering one has already been assassinated on that day. Or at least not Obama, at least. Maybe Donald Trump would make more sense on that day or something. Regardless, though, it just makes me wonder if I just don't get it. I mean, it's obviously coded. Even this guy dies at the age of 38. Orozco equals 38. Omaha equals 38. Who knows, It just makes me think that there's something significant still going to happen in Omaha just because of the 38 connections and Obama coming here. Another interesting thing in regards to the big shootings that we got, Alton Sterling and also Philando Castile, was on 7/6. If you go from 7/6 and you go to August 13th, it's a span of 38 days. August 13th, of course, can also be written 13/8, just like Donald Trump, 138. I mean, who knows? Just makes me really wonder, maybe this day, a special day. But even at that, if you go 38 days after this day, go to 919, check it out. If you include the end day, also 38 days to 919. So 138, 13/8, a halfway point between the Alton Sterling, Philando Castile shooting, and then 38 days later is 919, the day that it's super connected to the death of Kerrie Orozco, the Omaha police officer. Who knows, Just want to get the information out, like I said. But I mean, police officers die every day. So when you see these stories like Kerrie Orozco in the news, it truly makes you wonder why they chose these stories to make big deals and not the other stories. But, whatever. Gonna leave it at that. Peace.